difference? Single underscore if you give, it won't work. So you should give the double underscore construct, not constructor also, it is construct. Okay. Then similarly for destructor to destroy the object after execution of the program. So here also give double underscore. This is 1 and this is 2. Okay. And the name of the function is destruct. Okay. I have not used anything, just I want to show you. So how these functions are invoked as soon as the object is created. Okay. So there is nothing, just I have created a class. Don't worry about all these things. Okay. So if you want, you can just write initialization of the properties here. Okay. Then you have to pass the properties, the values for those properties when you are creating the object. Okay. So let me just execute this. So now what should be the output? What should be the output? What I have done, I am not trying to access anything, or I am not trying to initialize anything. Just I am creating the object for the customer class. Okay. So as soon as this statement is executed, immediately it will invoke. Okay. As soon as this object is created, immediately it will invoke the constructor. Okay. So I want everybody, okay, just ensure that this should be double underscore. Okay. If you, when you are executing normally by mistake, I think you will give like this. You see the color of that particular function. If it is predefined, you can see. Similarly for destructor. So let's go back to the web page, refresh. Can you see the constructor is created and the, okay, I need to change here. It should be destructor, or I can just tell object is destroyed. Okay, you just give proper new line character here. Okay. Maybe semicolon is missing. Okay, can you see the constructor is created and object is destroyed. So as soon as I have not done anything, just when you create object, automatically it will invoke the constructor. Okay, and in case if you have specified any parameter to be initialized here once the object is created, so in that case you have to pass the parameter here. Okay, without parenthesis also I think it should work. Okay, it's working. So normally you make a practice, you use parenthesis. Okay, this is the basic program for constructor and destructor. Actually there was a different program, just for debugging I have changed to the simple program. So there is another program where I have just used the construct. Okay, so what exactly I am doing here? The same program where I have taken set of properties, ID, name, email, okay, and balance. So I'll just change everything to here because I'm trying to access. Okay, if you are trying to access these elements, if it is private, you cannot access. Okay, just ensure that what are the properties you are going to access. Okay, so function construct, and here I am specifying set of parameters, arguments for this constructor. Okay, as soon as object is created, so the object is created by passing the parameters. Okay, so it is going to initialize those values with these properties. Okay, when you are using it as a property, when you are trying to access as a property, okay, you should not use the dollar sign. Okay, only when you are specifying it as a variable, you have to use the a dollar sign. Okay, so that you need to remember. So that is the constructor. I am just trying to initialize the values that are passed through the customer class. Okay, when I was creating the object using new operator. Then there is one more function called get mail. Okay, here I am just trying to access the mail. What is the, okay, protected. I think I may get error if I try to access this. Okay, let's see. If I'm getting error, we can change it. Okay, it is going to initialize to these values once the object is created. So id is assigned with 10 and name is assigned with abc, and whatever the input you are going to give, here it is going to assign. And I'm trying to access id. Okay, I'm just trying to display the customer id, and also I'm trying to access the mail. Okay, so this is accessing the property. Okay, I'm accessing the property. I'm just trying to display using echo, and this is I'm accessing the method. Okay, and the same thing, it is displayed on the browser. So here the file name is construct. So yesterday whatever we wrote, the same program I have taken. Okay, this is the previous one. Can you see? So constructor is created. Okay, I think I have a statement. Okay, so just yesterday, because we were had some problem, due to that I added the statement. If you want, you can just keep it. So that indicates that when the constructor is created. Okay, always when you are debugging, you can just do this echo statement to check that where exactly the problem. Okay, and here I am trying to access id and gmail, so that is displayed. So this is how the constructor works. Okay. Okay, this is also already discussed, static members, constraints. So let's move on to the important concept of object oriented here. Okay, so data encapsulation. So here, what is the meaning of encapsulation? What you have learned, the same concept, it is applicable for even in PHP. Okay, so encapsulation means you are just hiding the objects and methods. So that is encapsulation, which generally refers to restricting access to object internal components. You are going to give the restriction whenever if you want to make particular property or object should not be accessed. So in that case, you are going to use this method. So another way of understanding encapsulation is that it is the hiding of objects implementation details. Okay, so you cannot see the implementation details. So it is going to be embedded within the class. So how you can restrict the access of the objects? We have already discussed, you need to use the access modifiers. Okay. So a properly encapsulated class will define an interface to the world in the form. Okay, so you can easily access the members, that is the properties, even though if you have specified it as a private, it can be accessed. So example, public function get first name. Okay, so if you have specified the name as first name as private, still you can access those private members using functions within the class. Okay, similarly, you can just write a simple program for this to specify how encapsulation can be done using access modifiers, how you can hide the data using access modifiers. Okay, I want you people to just try this example, very simple examples. You can just because I've already explained the access modifiers, visibility, scope. Okay, so I'll just skip this part. Let me just move on to the inheritance. So here everybody I think aware of what is inheritance. Yes, no? So inheritance enables you to create PHP class that reuse or extend or modify the behavior that is needed in another PHP class. Okay, so this is the main task. So only thing is you should know where exactly the inheritance is required. Okay, in what situation. So in that case, if it requires to reuse the existing class, you can just reuse. Okay, or if it requires to extend, already there is a base class. If you want to add some more complexity, some more additional functions, you can extend it. Okay, or you can modify the behavior. Behavior means the function. Okay, it can be modified using this inheritance concept. Mainly the purpose of inheritance is normally we'll go with the reuse. Okay, so already whatever the base class it is having the properties methods that can be inherited to the next new class or derived class. So PHP only allows you to inherit from one class at a time. Okay, that means the multiple inheritance is not supported here. Okay, just remember some of the minor changes compared to what you have learned in C++, okay, or Java. So PHP only allows you to inherit from one class at a time. Okay, but if you go with the C++, you can inherit from multiple classes. That is possible. A class that is inheriting from another class is said to be subclass or derived class. Okay, whichever the new class you are going to create from the base class, okay, that is called as derived class. That is a new class created. So the class that is being inherited from is typically called superclass, okay, or the base class. Okay, whatever the class that is already existing, okay, that class we call it as base class or superclass. From this you are going to create the new class. So how to write the code for this? A PHP class is defined as a subclass by using extends. Okay, so when you want to do inheritance, you are going to use the key term called extends. You can just see the syntax given here. That is example class, okay, painting extends art. Okay, this is already existing class. Art is already existing class, and that is a base class that you are going to extend to the new derived class called painting. Okay, this is just a simple how the line how you need to write for inheritance. Okay, so followed by you will be having the properties and functions. Okay, so this is how you need to create the object. Whenever if there is an inheritance, you need to create an object for the derived class. Okay, so painting is a derived class. For that you are creating the object. So with the help of this object, you can invoke the function either directly from the base class or from the derived class. Okay, get name, it is part of base class. Okay, and get medium, it is part of derived class. So it is, you can just use the same object because all the properties of art it is inherited to painting class. Okay, so no need to separately create object for this. So once if you have created object for this, so now this class is having its own properties and methods, and also followed by so the properties and methods of the base class also. Okay, so these are all very simple things you are already familiar. You can just see this UML diagram. Okay, so what are the properties are available? Name, artist, created year. Okay, these are the properties of this art class. Okay, these are the examples given in the textbook. Okay, just they've given UML diagram. So once you have a UML diagram, you can create the program by yourself. You can write the program, simple program for this art and painting class. Hopefully I want everyone to try this by your own. Okay, and these are the methods that is present in art. Okay, that is get name, set name. So get name means you are just initializing. You can write a code here, okay, where it is going to initialize the name, okay, artist name. Sorry, you can just retrieve the name of the artist. In set name you can set the value for the name. Okay, so the simple logic you can just write it within this function. So it can have some more functions if it is there. And this is a derived class painting. It is having the property medium. Okay, get medium, set medium. Okay, so its own properties and methods of this class. When you are using inheritance, see, these are all the notations. Okay, this arrow mark, upward arrow mark indicates, okay, it is the inheritance. That is the art class is inherited to painting class. Okay, so this is simple way of representing. So once you do inheritance, now this painting class, it will be having, so all these properties, okay, and its own class properties, methods of this base class, and followed by methods of derived class. Okay, okay, you can just see the syntax how you need to write. So the class painting extends, okay, class painting extends art. So here it is having its own function called who, and it is trying to invoke. See, whenever if you want to invoke any of the uh, particular property or method, so you can just directly specify the class name. Okay, that is the keyword parent, not class name, keyword parent. Okay, followed by scope resolution. You can invoke this particular function. So this is another way of representing or invoking the functions. Okay, parent, scope resolution operator, and you need to specify the name of the function. Okay, and this is how you need to create the object. Okay, you can just see. So this is like a complex inheritance, getting data, or you can include multiple data from multiple classes. So more complex example where you have painting, art paint, and artist. So this is how you can just inherit more details from different classes. Okay, so let me just go to the example. Okay, they've given same example, whatever the UML diagram it is there, this is the base class. Okay, and this is the extension of the art class, and this is how it is going to invoke the class. Okay, the derived class, how it is going to invoke. So here it can be, once again, if it is there is any uh, constructor, you can just pass the parameters. Okay, it will initialize all the properties with these values. Okay, that's about this inheritance. So we'll do one small program for inheritance. Let me just complete this polymorphism, and I'll just show you one program with respect to polymorphism. Okay, so polymorphism is the notion that object can in fact be multiple things at the same time. Okay, so polymorphism, that means it can have multiple forms. You can write a single function where it can perform addition of two numbers. Okay, and also it can concatenate two strings. Okay, so that is called as polymorphism, even with respect to data type also. So polymorphism, if you have remembered how it is achieved, what are the methods, do you remember? Just recall. Okay, let me just explain. So this is just a continuation of the previous example. Okay, So without doing that, it may not understandable. Let me just go to the example. We'll do one program on inheritance. Okay. So before to this, yesterday I was explaining about the constant. I will just show you the one example of constant here. Okay, I have already created the program. You can just see. So there is a class called good boy. You can just give any class name. So here I'm just initializing a particular variable, constant variable with this string value. Okay. So and there is a function called by. So what you can do is you can just invoke this constant value using this keyword, that is self followed by scope resolution operator and the property, whatever you have initialized constant value, you can just try to echo it. So whenever if you are trying to access constant value, so you have to use this self scope resolution operator. Okay, so no need of using any object name here. So directly you can just specify, because this is within the class. Okay, I am not outside the class, this is within the class. So whenever if you are trying to access the constant value within the class, you can just use self the scope resolution operator. Okay. So you can just try to. So what is the expected answer? Even if you are trying to access this particular, if you invoke this function, so the output should be the same. It is not going to change. So constant. Okay. So here I am getting, what is the program I've taken? Okay, this is const one. Okay. So this is the program I have given. So here accessing this constant value, you need to remember, you cannot go with the object name. Okay, that is the reason I am just showing this example. You need to specify the class name. Can you see here? I have not created, even outside the class, I have not created any object. Directly you need to invoke this constant property using class name scope resolution operator. In case if it is within the class, you need to use self scope resolution operator followed by the property name. Are you getting? I think yesterday I have explained about that constant value, and it is going to be constant throughout the execution of the program. Okay, I want to just write something here. Okay, so if it is, if you are trying to access the constant, okay, within the class, if it is within the class, consider if you have declared public, not public, you cannot use any access specifier, directly you can use const. Okay, take anything, any variable name, and also dollar sign is also not required, that you need to remember. Normally when we are creating variables, we will start with the dollar sign. So just initialize, if it is a number or if it is a string, you just accordingly specify the value. Okay, this is done. If you are trying to access this value within the class, okay, consider within the class there is a function. Okay, give function name followed by, so there is some task here. What I am doing is I am trying to echo this constant value, echo. So in this case, what you have to write, how you are going to access this, it is not just a simple property. Okay, it is a constant. So in that case, you need to use self scope resolution operator followed by this mst. Okay, this is within the class. If it is outside the class, you need to just specify the class name. Okay, consider I have given class name message. You need to specify echo. This is outside the class. Only with respect to constant I am telling. Okay, not for all the properties. So constant, that is class name message scope resolution operator followed by message. Okay, So you will get the output, whatever it is initialized, the constant value. The same thing it is done in the, okay, the same thing it is done. This is outside the class. So these are the some minor changes with respect to PHP you need to note down. Okay, so just do one simple program on this, you can remember it. So cons, this is one, and if it is within the class, I told it should be used a self scope resolution operator. Okay. 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 So let me just go to the inheritance. Okay, to show the how reusability of the code can be done in PHP. So here I have taken a simple program. Okay, so there is a base class called fruit. It is having the properties name, color. Okay, and here there is a function. What is a function? So it is a constructor function. So you know now everybody should be knowing when exactly this function is called. Just understand here. So function double underscore 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 construct, and you have to specify the parameter, followed by if you want to initialize these values. Okay, so dollar this property name. Okay, so here you should not have dollar symbol. Then you need to assign this value whatever it is passed by the class. Okay, and color should be assigned. Then there is another function, introduction or introduction something it is there. So you can just echo message and try to access these properties whatever it is initialized and try to display it. Okay, so this is done with respect to these functions. So now what I'll do, this is like a very generic class. If you want to go for a particular fruit, okay, so if you want to write a or create a class with particular fruit, so in that case you need to go for the inheritance. So your class, this is a new class name or derived class name. You need to use the keyword called extends. Okay, you need to use the keyword called extends. Okay, which base class you are extending, that you need to specify. So the base class name is fruit here. Just specify that. Then followed by, you can add additional functions to this class. This is new class. It will be having all these properties and functions inherited to this derived class. In additional to that, if you want to add, okay, you can just add the properties and functions. So here only one function is added called message. So that finishes. Now you need to invoke or you need to invoke this particular function, or if you want to access any of these functions and properties. So create a object for this derived class. Okay, so derived class strawberry, new strawberry. Okay, so I am passing values here, strawberry and red. Okay, where it is going to, where it is going, here I don't have constructor, so constructor is there in the base class. Once you do extend, so all this information it is derived to this new class. Okay, so accordingly it will initialize these two values. Okay, and if you are invoking this introduction function with same same object, okay, you are not going to create object for this base class. Okay, for the derived class, through the derived class you are going to able to access the methods and properties whatever it is specified in the base class and derived class. Okay, this is the file name. Okay, so this is the output. So you can just observe how I got message. Okay, what is there in the message? Where is the message function? So am I fruit or berry? Okay, so because I am invoking this function, strawberry object name and message, so accordingly you are getting the output. So am I fruit or berry? Okay, followed by I am invoking the function that is belongs to the base class with the same object whatever I have already created for the derived class, strawberry introduction or intro, whatever the name it is given here. Okay, so whatever the output I am displaying here, so you are going to get. So the fruit is, okay, what is the value given here? The fruit is strawberry and the color is red. Okay, so this is how the inheritance can be done. Now what you can do, you can just try to modify these access specifiers. Okay, access modifiers either to public or private. Let me just show you. If I make it this as a private, you cannot get the output. So that is color red. Bus cannot be inherited to the derived class. So let me just change this also. You should get an error now. So go back to the browser, check the output, but still I am able to access. There's a file name. How come? Okay, so here it is derived as not this one, this one. Actually, I should get an error because I made the members are private. It is still able to get the output. So let me just check this later. Okay, so you just remember here. So this is a syntax you need to follow for inheritance. Okay, you need to extend. So write your own program or whatever it is given in the textbook. At least try that. So they have given the UML diagram accordingly. You can just specify. Okay, so you can just go with this. I want everyone to try this UML diagram. Okay. So you can add your own code. So here the property, only properties they have specified. So you can just add some methods to each of the class and try to access it. Okay, and understand how inheritance works. So what else is not covered? I think I have not shown any examples with respect to static properties and methods. Did anybody try yesterday? So quickly let me just show you one example with respect to static properties and methods. So I don't have a program. Let me create one program here. I think I have a program. Let me check it. Static. Okay. Okay. Open the program. Okay. So here I have okay, this is different example. Let me just quickly take one simple example to understand better about the static properties and method. I'll make one property as static and one member as static, and we'll try to access the values. So what is the condition if it is static and how to retrieve those members? Create a class called users. First save the file. Okay. So I'm creating, I told many times, always try to use the capital letter to specify the name of the class. If you give small case also, it will accept it. Okay. It one variable property, that is public name. One function called get name. Okay. Public function. Give the function name get name. Any queries? In between, nobody is talking. Any queries? Are you people are following? If any issues, you can just stop me. So get name. So here I'll try to initialize this property. So here I'm not going to do anything. I'll just try to return some value. Okay, if this return. Okay, so this function is closed. Class is closed. Now what I'll do is I'll try to access the members. Dollar user is equal to new. Just create the object. So what is the class name? User. As usual, if you want, you can use the parenthesis. Even though don't have constructor, but still you will be able to get the output. So here what I'll do is I'll just try to invoke this function. This is a simple program. I'll just modify this to a static, and I will show you the difference between the when you specify static what happens. Okay, echo. So here I am not going to use any string. Instead of that, I will invoke the function. Okay, echo. What is the object name I have given? User, arrow mark. Okay, and give the function name. What is the function name I have given? Get name. Get name. Just to close the PHP. Okay, so there is undefined variable. I think name not given properly. User. See, try to correct when you are getting any errors. Try to correct it so that you will get interest if you get errors. Okay, so this is a simple program. I have not made any static variable or static functions. Okay, this is how when the normal properties and functions are declared and how you can access this. Everybody knows. Now what I'll do is I'll convert any one of these to static. Okay, static public name. Okay, so if I make this static public name, so how you can invoke this? Anyhow, I am not using this property. So instead of I'll make function static. Okay, so static public function get name. So let's see if I make it as a static, is it I'll get the output or not. Okay, still I'm able to get it, but here you can just see I'm getting error. Okay, accessing static property. With respect to static property, I'm getting a error. Not this file actually. This file. Okay, it is returning value. Okay, so actually what you have to do is if you are trying to access any of the static property, consider if this name is static. Okay, so let's make this property as static and we'll see how it can be accessed. Accessing of properties and methods, we have a different notation. So now itself I told with respect to constant. Similarly, so you have to use it for even static properties and methods. That is, if it is accessed, that static member within the class, you need to use self. Okay, scope resolution operator. So here let me just initialize this with some value. Okay, so now I'll try to access this property within the class. Okay, using dollar scope resolution operator and name of the property, that is dollar name is equal to okay, I think You can just save it and run. We'll see. Okay. So you can just use this self, okay, self scope resolution operator to access the static properties, static members. Okay, if it is outside the class, like how I explained for the constant, if it is outside the class without creating object, okay, without creating object, you can directly invoke this function with the help of class and scope resolution operator. So let me just comment this. I'm not creating any object here. So directly you can invoke echo. It is applicable only for the static members. Echo, what is the class name I have given? User. Okay, use scope resolution operator. Dollar name, not dollar name. Okay, if you want to access property, you can just use this. We'll see. If it is a function, you have to specify the function. So let's invoke that also. Echo, or we'll see the output. What is the output we are going to get? I should get the name, whatever I have assigned or declared it as a static. Okay, so it's working fine. So this is how you need to use the syntax for accessing the static members and properties. Okay, so without object you can access the property. See, this is property. Similarly, you can just try. I will just modify here only because okay, echo user. What is the function name? Get name. Okay, get name. Save it. Now also I should get the same output. Okay, it's working fine. So this is how you need to work with a static member. So whenever if you are working with a static members, it does not require to create an object. So directly with the class name followed by scope resolution operator, you can access it. Okay, and also what is the important thing I told about static yesterday? So it is going to be a single instance. How many object, whatever the object you create, okay, so it is going to be having the common value for all the objects. You can just write that one program for this. Just create one counter variable. Will you people do that? So create one counter variable. It can be shared or it can be used in multiple classes, and check it what is the output you are getting. Normally if you are creating different objects, accordingly the output you should get. Okay, so for this object the output is whatever the input or string I have given. So if I have created another object in where in the particular class I have used this property and modified the string value. Okay, so now that the modified string value is going to be applicable for all the objects. Okay, that is one more important thing you need to remember. It will be having the common value for all the objects. So just try to execute one more program with respect to demonstrate that. I think yesterday I already explained about that. Okay, so public static artist count. So this is going to be common for all the objects. It is having the same instance value. How many objects you create, it will be having the same value. Normally when you create a different instance of the class or objects, what happens, it will be having its own values. But whenever you declare a property as a static, it will be having the same constant